Hi, it's Cory, and today you're going to learn how to play an easy version of the English version of Vie En Rose by Edith Piaf. So the first thing you need to do for any song that you're about to play is always make sure your ukulele is in tune. That's going to be a G on the 4th string, a C on the 3rd string, an E on the 2nd string, and an A on the 1st string. For this song, you're going to need to know 7 chords, but what's great about them is most of these chords are probably ones you've already heard about, and they transition really easily into one another. The first chord we're going to be looking at today is going to be the A minor chord. To make an A minor, you're going to take your 2nd finger and then place it on the 4th string, 2nd fret. The next chord we're looking at is the C major chord. For that, you're taking your 3rd finger, placing it on the 1st string, 3rd fret. Next, we have a D major chord. This is going to take place all on the 2nd fret, starting with your 1st finger on the 4th string, your 2nd finger on the 3rd string, and then your 3rd finger on the 2nd string. From here, we're looking at the easy D7, or sometimes called the Hawaiian D7. What you're going to do with this one, starting with that 1st finger still, you're going to keep it on the 4th string, 2nd fret, and then you're actually taking your 2nd finger and placing it on the 2nd string, 2nd fret. Next, we have the E minor chord. For this one, we're taking our 1st finger, placing it on the 2nd fret, 1st string. Your 2nd finger is going on the 3rd fret, 2nd string, and then your 3rd finger is going on the 4th fret, 3rd string. Our next chord is going to be the G chord. For this, you're starting with your 1st finger, placing it on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. Your 2nd finger is going on the 2nd fret, 1st string. Then your 3rd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. Our last chord is going to be the G major 7. For this chord, it's going to take place on the 2nd fret, and it's basically like a D just over a string. So you're going to take your 1st finger for this one and then place it on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Your 2nd finger is going to go on the 2nd string, 2nd fret, and then your 3rd finger is going to go on the 1st string, 2nd fret. An alternative way to play this chord is actually just to bar it, but based on the fact that we're always going to be following our G major chord with that G major 7, it's actually easier to play our G chord and then to play it the way I showed you rather than barring down. But that is an option if barring is easier for you. To do that, you're just taking your 1st finger and placing it across all 3 of those strings, and I recommend taking your 2nd finger and laying it on top of that to give it a little bit extra support, but it's your choice. After you feel really solid with the different chords, you can play them without having to look directly at the chord diagram all the time. It's okay if you need a couple little reminders, but mostly they should be memorized. Then it's time to look at the strumming pattern. Now, we're doing 2 things with our strumming pattern. A little bit of a kind of a bounce type thing that's going to be sort of partially muting chords, but also we're going to be using a really simple strumming pattern of just demonstrated on a G chord. It's just going to be a down, 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 up. A little slower, down, 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 up. Now what we're going to be doing is rotating through chords. Most of the time, you're going to be strumming that entire strumming pattern and then changing the chords. So the opening line or our little intro would sound like this. There on that A minor to the D, I just was strumming on the down strum. You could, if you wanted to, you could do down, 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 up. But I find because it's the intro, it's nice to add a little bit of pause. So in all the different play-alongs I have for this, you'll see that happening. But for the rest of the song, basically it's just on that strumming pattern. There are a couple places where you're just going to be playing on the chord and letting it ring for a second. One place in particular is going to be in the bridge section when you get to everyday words seem to, and you have a D over turn into then D7 love songs. So for that, you're just playing on the chord change. Now, for the hand positioning for that, you can do 2 things. You could play the D regular, like I recommended and showed you just a few minutes ago, and then you can just lift up your 2nd finger to play that D7, or you could completely change to the regular finger positioning for a D7. Again, that's going to be your choice based on your preference. Either is fine here. The only other time that will be different is going to be at the very, very end of the song. Now that very end line of La Vie En Rose, that is going to be strummed on La Vie En Rose. All right, so that's going to be changing chords in the middle of the strumming pattern, but it's all on a down strum, so it really emulates more of strumming on the beat than it does an actual strumming pattern. While you're doing that strumming pattern, you're actually going to be doing something really fun with your fingers. If this ends up being too complicated for you, you can just skip it and just play on the down strums. That's totally fine too, but I think it really adds a little bit of kind of bounciness and it jazzes up the song a lot. Basically what you're doing is you're going to be kind of partially muting the song, and it makes a really cool effect. So what that entire thing sounds like is going to be this. Now all you're doing here is you're in that chord shape and you're just pressing on the pulses and then strumming like normal. So I'm pressing and then releasing up, and then you can kind of hear it. Let me go down to the mic a little bit. It's sort of like I'm hammering on, or I'm doing like a hammer on for each of the chords and then strumming at the same time. It adds this, makes this really cool effect that I think works really, really well for this song. It works in a lot of other jazz tunes too, especially if you're just playing on one instrument like you are on the ukulele. So the entire opening line would sound like this. As opposed to without the bounce, which would be like this. Both ways sound fine, but again, I think adding those little, that bouncing or essentially like hammering on every chord pulse, I think it really adds a little something extra to the song. I would recommend playing through the song a couple times without doing this and then trying it to kind of add that extra technique. But it might sound a little funky when you first try it, but just experiment with it and eventually you'll kind of get it. The way I sort of learned how to do it is literally by just practicing my hammer-ons, and then I started applying that to chords, and it made this really cool effect. So it's something that's pretty common and people do it a lot. You see it a lot more in like guitar, I would say, than potentially ukulele, or at least in beginner ukulele, but it sounds really cool when it's done well. So add that. If it doesn't work for you now, it's not a big deal. Have it something that you can lead up to. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a mini play along. It's just going to be playing through the song once through, just to kind of give you all the information. If you're at all interested in checking out what a full version of this would be, make sure to check out my separate play along for this video, as well as the one that was done with my husband and the U-bass. It adds a lot of extra richness, and you can kind of see what playing with more than just a single instrument would sound like. 1, 2, here we go.
Spells you cast. This is La Vie En Rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see La Vie En Rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above.
Enjoyed this tutorial for La Vie En Rose by Edith Piaf. It's a beautiful song. I think everybody kind of loves it. I don't know a single person who doesn't. Like I said before, this is the English version of it. However, if you can speak French or you want to try to tackle the French version, you can play and use this tutorial for that as well. You just change the language. It's all the same. But otherwise, please give this video a like and then comment down below to let me know what you thought of it. But I hope you have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye!
When you press me to your heart, I'm in